This is Chuck Huber, the voice of Android 17. You're listening to Anime Seekers. You better be, or I'm coming for you. Dragon of the Darkness, Flame!
Toku Secrets is a podcast run by the Anime Secrets website. Check us out at animesecrets.org for more anime, video game, tokusatsu content. Remember to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts today.
Hey guys, I'm Hunter Dino. I'm your Pink Dino Fury Power Ranger and your Red Cosmic Fury Power Ranger, and you're listening to Toku Secrets Podcast.
Welcome to Toku Secrets. Join us as we journey into the marvelous world of Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Power Rangers, and many other tokusatsu. Get ready for the adventure of a lifetime. It's Morphin' time! Link to the Morphin'. I'm Nathan Desai, the dazzling adventurer, Boken Silver.
I'm Patrick Gower, and I'm Shinken Red.
And I'm Rizwan Merchant, Gokai Red.
And I'm Anthony Davis, also known as Curie Green. And we're Toku Secrets.
What is going on? Welcome everyone to episode 123 of the Toku Secrets podcast. We got the whole gang on here today because guess what? Just a couple of days ago, over the weekend when we were recording this, the last episode of Ohsama Sentai King-Ohger dropped, and we are going to be reviewing the last 5 episodes. That's 46 through 50, and then we're going to give our final grade on the show. And then maybe later down the road, we're still debating over whether or not we're going to do this, but spoiler alert, this has turned out to be a really good Sentai, and now Riz is trying to make us do a versus with shit.
But we're not telling them what... Oh, you already did. Never mind.
Well,
okay. Too late.
Yeah. But we'll get to that when we get to it.
Yeah.
So we got a lot to talk about. Not just because yes, we're only reviewing 5 episodes, but we're looking at the whole series. So this is going to be a pretty big podcast. So let's jump right in. We're going to give a brief recap of everything that happened last time, which the last batch of episodes was absolutely insane. So Rockless was made into one of Dog Dead's new jesters after he defeated Gira in battle. But then it turned out he actually turned on Dog Dead. He revealed that back when he was originally crowned king 17 years ago, he wanted to destroy Dog Dead by any means necessary. That had been the mission of his royal family for 2,000 years. And that led him to becoming evil because he sought a power, strong enough to defeat Dog Dead. And he and Gira were able to defeat Dog Dead. But, unfortunately, Dog Dead is like a god. So, you can't defeat him that easily. We actually find out that Gira is a child birthed from Dog Dead. He used, god powers. He basically impregnated the Shugoden queen to turn Gira into, some Jesus baby or something like that. Kind of like how the Force impregnated Shmi Skywalker to give birth to Anakin Skywalker, I guess you could say.
That's a better comparison.
Yeah. And Rackless loved Gira as his brother, even though he was viewed as just a tool to stop Dog Dead by Rackless's father. The King-Ohgers found out that they had a grand power hidden in Kingdom heirlooms from the original heroes 2,000 years ago. And these were heirlooms that they used to seal the Bugnarok away. And they reactivated their alliance to become one with the team and unlock this power. And they're able to use it. They wanted to use it against Dog Dead to take the fight to him. And so far, the King-Ohgers have destroyed 2 of Dog Dead's jesters, that being Hirubiru and Minongan. So Dog Dead's jesters, which were previously seen as unkillable, are now actually mortal. So let's jump into episode 46, Know the Beauty of Life. This is mostly kind of, some of the recent, defeating Jester episodes have been kind of, a mix where there was one episode kind of dedicated to, Yanma with Gira mixed in a little bit. Then the previous one was a Rita and Kaguragi episode. Well, this one is Jeremy and Himeno. They team up to stop Grody, where Himeno realizes that her power can't kill Grody. She has the power to harness life. And, and she can't kill Grody because Grody is already dead. Like, he's basically a zombie. And Jeremy discovers that he inherited a power that has given him eternal life. That's his power, and it was a crystal inside of his chest. And Jeremy and Himeno, they mourn their parents, and it's especially big for Himeno since Grody is responsible for killing her parents. And they come up with a plan to defeat Grody. And what they do is they implant Jeremy's crystal into Grody after they extract it from him, and they give him life. But unfortunately, this ends up backfiring just a little bit because Grody is now completely empowered, and he starts unleashing a new swarm of shoe gods onto the world. And ladies and gentlemen, we got God's Wrath 2.0. So I just ended up speaking for a little bit. I know this is technically a two-parter, but let's pause a little bit. What do we think about this episode 46, guys?
I'm going first. And I just want to say that last time we did a King-Ohger podcast, I made a prediction about what this episode would be, specifically this episode. And guess what? I'm 100% correct in what I said. For those that don't remember, I'm the one that said in this episode we're going to have the big revelation of Himeno and Jeremy's power, and there'll be an episode dealing with that. And guess what? Riz is right. But to the more important part, because this isn't about Riz being right, except for that's a really cool thing to be doing. I just love this episode of the two of them getting the chance to bond like this and to mourn their parents. And honestly, this stuff with Himeno really, really hits hard. Like, just the stuff she deals with, the stuff she goes through, that's some hard-hitting stuff. And then Jeremy on top of that, and then Grody as well. Like, Grody was such a fantastically interesting villain here because he's not a typical villain. He can't die, and I think he kind of yearned death in a way.
Yeah, I found him to be. Go ahead, Patrick.
Yeah, like that scene after she removed his crystal and they were standing on the balcony, just like letting out the emotions, was like, it was one of those scenes of few words that said a lot. Because Himeno almost felt like she was killing Jeremy, and Jeremy felt like this, like, release, like he was finally amongst everyone else on a certain level. And yeah.
No, yeah, I mean, that he definitely, I think he felt lighter in a way.
Yeah, oh yeah. Because you could tell it, like when he spoke about earlier, that Immortal felt like, what did the term he used? Lonely?
Lonely,
and
yeah.
Now,
he felt lonely.
Yeah, and now he's got that weight off his shoulder. It was like they didn't say much do it, but you could see it in their eyes what everything meant to them, and it was good stuff.
Yeah, and I liked how this episode kind of tackled the there are so many people who think, oh, wouldn't it be cool to be immortal and all that? And honestly, I mean, being immortal doesn't always sound as peachy as it sounds. And there's a lot of shows that I've seen go through this type of thing, like shows and things like in Lord of the Rings, you have the whole thing between Arwen and Aragorn, where Arwen loves Aragorn, but she's immortal, Aragorn isn't. And like, you love people, but here's the thing, I mean, you're going to keep on going, and you're going to see people that you know and love die, and you're not going to have them anymore. And I've never seen Sentai tackle that. And I think Sentai, and I don't know, maybe they do it in some of the other ones. I can assure you that they don't do it in the Showa era. But
At this point, Nate, you've seen everything up until Tokyuzer,
Yeah.
like with no gaps. So if you haven't seen it in like what 39 or 40 seasons, I mean, are you gonna really see it now?
Probably not. And the first time Sentai tackles it, they tackle it in the most perfect way.
Yeah.
Like, I really like it.
Yeah, I was getting a lot of vibes from Ra's al Ghul here with the whole
Oh, dude,
being
yeah.
alive,
I can see that.
being
Oh,
alive
yeah.
for a long time starts driving him crazy. Now I know a lot of that has to do with the Lazarus pit and the side effects of jumping into it, but there's so many incarnations of him where he basically just admits that being alive for like what the 200-300 years or so that he's been alive canonically is screw with him mentally. And like I can imagine that like even like Jeremy and Grody, like the toll it's taken on the two of them. And you could just, like I said, you could just see how relieved Jeremy was when he had that taken off of him. So it's a lot to think about. Like the messages and meanings behind this episode.
And honestly, I might say this more than once tonight, but watching this episode, I forgot I was watching a Super Sentai.
Yeah, King-Ohger has a ton of those types of episodes.
We've had a lot of episodes like that, haven't we?
Yeah, I'm going to be making that comment at least
Yeah.
4 more times. Hint, every episode from here on out.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that Kaguragi episode where he encounters his like predecessor. Like, you know, my wife is right now watching a show on Hulu that's all about like the samurai life called Shogun. Honestly,
dude, I need to watch that.
That's on Hulu now. Yeah,
that Kaguragi episode
I heard it was
like
good.
it would be more suited for Shogun, not Sentai. So, but what do we want to give episode? Well, Anthony, what do you think of episode?
Oh, I yeah, leave me out, right? No, no, you're good. You're good. I'm messing. I'm joking. No, but honestly, the episode was actually really good. One thing to note here, I know you guys probably don't remember this, but like way earlier in the season, Himeno and Jeremy's relationship actually is intriguing to me because at the beginning, she actually wanted him dead at one point because she thought he was responsible for what happened with the God's wrath and all that.
Yeah, now they're the two fighting.
Yeah.
I know,
So
now
their
they're
relationship really grew from that.
Stop the guy who actually did it. Yeah, that's the kind of subtle writing that this season has done incredibly well. The simple, yeah.
I'm so glad I remember that.
Yeah, of all people to have,
I'm glad I remember that.
Jeremy, that's actually perfect.
Oh yeah. But overall, it was an entirely fantastic episode from start to finish. And it was interesting how her ability, was because you talked about it briefly, but like I just love the fact that it's literally like her, like when she uses her ability, it looks like a scythe, like a death scythe, or whatever. Because she's a praying mantis, so like it looks like a scythe. So when she's cutting it, it looks like she's reaping souls. Hence the
how ironic is it that
people, or whatever.
Himeno and her kind of main antagonist in the series, their main weapons are both scythes. So, yeah,
ironic.
What do we want to give 46 out of 10, guys?
9.
Yeah, I'm going 9 too.
9.
Cool. I'll give it 9.
9's all around. All right. Now let's move on to 47, which 47 is kind of it's part of the two-parter because we can probably say that like the next episode is where the Endgame arc officially begins. So this picks up from where the previous episode left off. God's Wrath 2.0 is imminent. And most of the episode revolves around the King-Ohgers trying to evacuate the people. They alert everyone about the impending God's wrath, and they open up these tunnels to help people escape to Jeremy's kingdom, the underground Rift Kingdom. where where Bugnarok people live. During the evacuation, Gira and Raklis encounter this woman who's very resentful of Raklis because she lost her family in the original God's Wrath, and Raklis failed her. That's why she lost her family. And Raklis begs the woman for forgiveness because, he convinces her to evacuate. And, very emotional scene, very powerful scene. And he vows that he'll fight alongside the King-Ohgers to right the wrong that he made 17 years ago. Everyone gets evacuated. All 7 King-Ohgers come together and form God King-Ohger. They confront Grody, and they're given the power to defeat Grody because Grody basically craves death. Like, he wants to be dead. Like, he craves the silence of death. And while the King-Ohgers, they want to preserve and celebrate life, and that gives them the power to defeat Grody. And this is where we get some very poetic justice for Grody. After he gets killed, he finds himself in the land of the dead. It's given an official name. I can't remember what the name of it was, but he finds himself in the land of the dead, and he's thinking like, oh wow, I'm finally dead. I can finally just live in silence and peace. And then all these people start annoying him and all that, and he's just really like, oh no, death isn't nearly as quiet as I expected. No, there's really poetic justice there. And the episode ends as the King-Ohgers cheer on their victory because guess what? Not a single person was killed in God's Wrath 2.0. Great success.
So, first, just to add on to your notes there, Nate, the place you're thinking of is called Hakabaka.
Hakabaka.
And that's the main premise of the King-Ohgers movie that comes 20, 30 episodes before this.
Okay.
Yeah. So, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the movie a little bit more in the end game of this, but I just want to throw it out there now.
So this is, I should probably watch that. I didn't realize that this was going to be a Sentai where you kind of have to watch the movie to get a certain.
I found out.
I didn't either. I
finished the finale last night, and then while talking to a former member of this podcast, aka Ronald Bubsy, he mentioned that the end game doesn't make as much sense without the movie. And so I went and watched the movie, and I was like, he's not wrong.
How long is the movie?
40 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I should check that out. I mean,
2 episodes.
I mean, the only Sentai that I think we've reviewed thus far where you kind of have to see a movie in order for it to make sense is Gokaiger, because the Go-Sager crossover movie is where they get a bunch of rare powers that we don't see them.
The Shinkenger movie introduced the
Kyoryu
Maru, which did play a role loosely in the series at the end.
But I don't think we watched it for the podcast, did we?
No.
Yeah, but
I summarized it for you, but yeah.
I still watched it though.
They also had an episode that was like a sequel to the movie.
Yeah,
that allows you to understand the movie if you didn't necessarily watch it.
Yeah,
I mean,
because the movie was literally just like an episode long.
I'll be honest, and this is getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but I'll be quick and honest about this. The King-Ohger movie adds a lot, but I feel the Endgame arc and the last couple episodes we're reviewing tonight do a good enough job to explain it and give you the context you need to be able to fully enjoy the finale.
Yeah, I never felt myself lost in the 3 final episodes anyway, so...
Right.
Me neither.
But anyway, back to Silent God. I just want to start by saying, I think Nathan hit another really good point about this being poetic justice for Grody, but the way I imagine this being more poetic than what Nathan explained is that I imagine Grody hearing the voices of the people he killed and hurt throughout his career as this jester person, and now they're all haunting him in the afterlife.
Yeah.
So he
That's what he
deserves it.
deserves.
And I gotta say, I really like seeing all 7 King Ozers come together to pilot God King Ozer, and just the amount of synergy they have to work together like that and to pull off 0 death from a god's wrath is pretty awesome to me.
Yeah.
Also, I do like the
Yeah,
scene
definitely.
where, oh man, I forget her name now. The little girl that Gira was childhood friends with.
One of the
And-
orphans.
I forgot her name too.
Oh man, what is it?
Yeah.
I don't remember her name. But
Kogane?
yeah.
Oh yeah. But anyway, I really
it's
appreciated the
Kogane, yeah.
scene where C and Zermi have that moment where they're talking down in
Yeah.
the caves. That was a strong moment.
Yeah. Honestly, Jeremy
Oh,
and
yeah.
the Bugnarok, that scene where Jeremy was like, you see that what's that feeling of that you feel for helping people, and the Bugnarok guys were like happiness, and Jeremy was like, yeah, keep doing things to feel that way. And after this going forward, you see the Bugnarok citizens actively helping the rest of the people of
Yeah.
Shaku, and it's like, I've been waiting to see this happen ever
Yeah.
since Jeremy took over. It was nice to see the
Yeah.
Bugnarok
The payoff.
officially, finally flip sides officially.
Well, it's not only that, but also
Yeah.
Jeremy had been working on his kingdom in secret. We hadn't really seen what he'd been doing, but you can
Mhm.
tell he laid the groundwork. And I mean, just the simple fact that all 6 main King Ozers had the foresight to have been planning these type of things just in case they're ever needed.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's also really amazing that they were able to do that, despite all their petty differences of, oh, well, you do this, you do that. Like, you know, all the typical royal stuff. Like, at the end of the day, that's so they truly cared for their people.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I also want to talk about the scene, or just Rackless in general in this episode, because that scene where he was basically getting scolded for having a hand in killing that woman's family, and he got on his knees, kneeled, apologized, and let Gira like talk her into like accepting, and like accepting his help or something, and then he helped her up onto her wheelchair again, and then Gira gave him his blade back as like a sign of like almost like an honorary member of the King Ogers, because after this he henshins a lot, fine, and I was hoping we'd see more of him doing this, but this was kind of like a shining moment for him to kind of like.
I'll add on to it, Nate. Patrick. I feel like him, like you're giving him the sword back was like,
exactly,
you've earned it. You know, it's like one of those
like
things.
When Gira
it's
pulled
like
the blade out and gave it to him,
you.
I had this stupid smile on my face. I was like, finally, I'm happy for this guy. After I spent all season wanting to strangle him with my bare hands, now I'm happy for him. He finally
really
gets
right.
So
it's like, man, and when I was smiling, I was also thinking in my head like, man, remember when I thought that this guy was like the worst human being in the world and I just wanted to punch him in the face? Good times.
Yeah.
Like,
unlike Anthony's absolutely
There it
favorite
is.
character ever.
no.
There it is. There it is.
Rio, yeah. Ha! I got it right. Screw you. Damn, I didn't trigger Anthony.
No, you did. He did.
No. I said my piece.
Oh no, you made him angry. But he wasn't saying stuff out loud. He was saying it in here.
Oh, but it's not good enough until I hear it out loud.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh yeah, pretty much.
Anthony was straining himself internally.
Anthony has more restraint than I do.
Yes, we know.
If you ever seen Team 4 Stars Dragon Ball Z or Bridge, then you remember that scene where Trunks was like screaming internally because Bulma was like freaking flirting with him, whatever. That's me right now.
So you mean you're pulling a Rita?
Yeah.
I had to be screaming for that to be effective.
Yeah.
Like actually screaming.
What do we want to give 47 out of 10, guys?
9.
Yeah. Same here.
I'm holding the
9.
10.
I'm holding the 10s because just woo, yeah, just.
All right.
Yeah. They're all gonna be 10s, by the way. All my scores will be 10s, by the way.
All right, now we're gonna move on to episode 48. Farewell, dear people. This is where the Endgame arc begins. So we actually begin with a flash forward. All of Shikyu has basically been leveled, and Gira gets up in the middle of the destroyed town. The other King-Ohgers are lying unconscious, and he confronts Dog Dead. Then we flash back to the present. Yanma explains that he has a plan to unleash King-Ohger's final form, but it's going to take some time because it has to be unlocked by all 6 of their powers. And unfortunately, they don't have Jeremy's eternal life because they use that to defeat Grody. But before they can, Dog Dead arrives and he starts, just beating the King-Ohgers down and, just easily defeating them, walking right through them. And there's not enough time to unleash the new weapons, so the King-Ohgers have to execute Plan Zero. They're going to move to evacuate the people of Shikyu. The rest of the episode mostly revolves around, the people of Shikyu. Like we see Kogane, Gira's 2 friends, Sebastian, all of Gira's Yanma's gang, and so on and so forth. They gather behind Rackless. They're going to enter the Takasa's Kabuto to evacuate, and through the King-Ohger's heirlooms that they gave the heirlooms to their assistants, the people are shown pre-recorded messages of the 6 saying they were too late to stop Dog Dead, and they're sending the people to a new planet to rebuild. But the people say, no, we don't want to. We don't want to go somewhere else. We want to stay here. We want to make a stand, and we want to fight Dog Dead. Now they get attacked by Kirajim. Kirajim was disguising himself as one of the Shugoden people. I can't remember that guy's name, but he's been in like every episode. He's like this bigger guy who screams really loudly.
I just called him that annoying guy. I don't care what his real name is.
He's still annoying to this day. Like, I don't hate him as much as I hate other people, like especially you know who. But he annoyed me so bad, and I was like, oh, like. But this time,
yeah,
I actually didn't mind him because his annoyance.
Yeah, his annoyance actually helped here because like the real guy shows up and he's like, "Who's that imposter?" And then they're all like, "Yep, he's louder." That's the one.
I love that his loudness.
Yeah, it's how louder. No, it was like the kid. The kid was the one that said that.
I love how the kid's like, "He's the one. He's louder." I'm like, this kid is amazing.
Yeah, that one over there is way too calm to be the real guy.
Yeah, exactly. Because something was off. I was just noticing. I was like, he's a lot more calm than usual. I was like, something seems off. But then I paid no mind. And then I was like, wow, I actually was right about something.
Among Us
in my turn.
Sus.
It reminds me of this episode of Deca Ranger. This was actually directly adapted into an SPD episode. It's that one where the monster switches bodies with Sky. Like in the Deca Ranger episode, it's actually a much funnier moment because like Bond says to Hoji, the monster's pretending to be Hoji, is all like, "Hey, let's take this guy down, partner." And then Hoji is all like, "Yep, let's do it, partner." And then Bond is all like, "Wait a minute. Every time I call you partner, you tell me not to call you partner." So it's like, yeah, that episode was actually a bit more entertaining. I like SPD more than Deca Ranger, but that episode in particular, I think, is better than the SPD episode.
How in the world did they not realize it wasn't him? To this day, I don't understand how that's even possible. Well, I know it's not. This is SPD, but I'm just gonna get out of the way because I have to. Like, it bothered me. I was like, even Jack didn't notice it. I was like, come on, man. Do you not know your partner?
Just
like,
just
come
give
on.
him Just give him toast. That'll be the best way to figure out if it's the real bridge or not. If he doesn't do this, if he doesn't do the buttery thing, then you shoot him in the face because you know he's not the real.
Exactly. If Sid doesn't go around wanting to shop all the time, if Z, that Z might be difficult because it's not really a character. There's a characteristic. She has characteristic, but I don't know what would trigger her to be not herself.
Well, we'll get to that when we do.
I don't know. Maybe duplicate herself. I don't know.
But going back to this episode, so they get attacked by Karajim, but then Desnarak, he actually appears out of the portal of the. Hold on, I'm gonna get this name right. Hakabaka. Gotcha. Okay, Hakabaka. He actually appears and he, vows vengeance against Karajim. And the episode ends with, the King-Ohgers. They're defeated by Dog Dead, and he unleashes this shower of fireballs from the sky that just levels the entire world of Shikyu. And the episode ends as Gira. Pretty much it ends where we started. Gira confronts Dog Dead and vows that he'll defeat him. So what do we think about 48, guys?
I gotta say, I talk about it very often when we're doing these kind of podcasts about how a villain's threat value determines how much I enjoy stuff like this. And Dog Dead's threat factor at this point, the stocks are rising like crazy. The inflation in the world, you can't even calculate it with any Western mathematics. It's just too fastly. It's just moving too quick. He literally just made a crazy amount of damage and a crazy amount of threat to make it so that maybe the King-Ohgers won't win. I was actually kind of wondering, how are they going to win from this? This is insane. So, I just got to say, this episode is phenomenal.
Yep. I remember when we first got introduced to Dog Dead and we were saying that he was a Thanos or Galactus level villain. This is showing that he really is living up to his reputation.
Well, when we get to the next episode, you're going to see how true that statement really is, Nate.
Yep, we are.
Because holy, what?
Definitely.
I mean,
holy marvelous.
Yeah,
holy marvelous.
Crap basket.
I'm just gonna. I want to bounce off that and skip ahead to the next episode before I get to my point. But man, you could really feel the Endgame, Avengers Endgame inspiration for this film.
Yes,
it wasn't even.
It's not even say the same thing.
It's not even subtle.
No, it's like Japan was taking notes on American cinema, and was okay, so somehow we got to recruit the scene. Go.
Yeah. But
they did it.
I think my favorite, and this is, I think I mentioned this a couple of podcasts ago when we were talking about King-Ohger, and I said that I loved how each king has an inner circle, a group of characters that they have with them, and how they establish their character, kind of, built up their relation to their king and all this stuff. And I was wondering when, and I was saying that this is paying dividends because it's making this world feel more alive when you have their inner circles be full-on characters. And this episode really brought that together when they were given the basically the heirlooms and saying, well, we're probably going to die here. You take these, go to another world and take our place and, keep everybody safe, keep everybody alive, and try to continue the plans to kill Dog Dad at a later time. And I don't think this moment would have worked if these characters weren't as prominent and as fleshed out as they had been all season long. Because I can't remember all their names, but Gira's guard of arms, Rita's friend, the butler, and
Sebastian.
Yeah, and all of them. It's payoff for them to sit
Yeah.
here and look at this and like, no, we don't. We don't want this thrust upon us. We don't want to have to go anywhere, and it shows that they're not just side characters. There is just as much a part of the story as the King-Ohgers were. And then for them and Rackless to stand there and be like, this is what the Kings are asking of us, but that's not what we want to do, and that's not for the best of us, so let's turn around and go help them out. This is reward for this season's incredible world building.
Yeah.
And I love that whole scene of them watching the video of them explaining the situation and having all of them say, nah, we're not doing this. we're going back and helping. And that's probably the key moment in this episode to me, and I loved it.
It was definitely a very impactful moment to see them that dedicated, that loyal, that brave.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to imagine, I mean, these guys don't have suits of armor that they can magically Henshin into. They just have literally pitchforks, maybe a bale of rice, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're literally just farmers and peasants. But you got to think, this is a big testament to the rule of all 6 kingdoms.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because on the surface, Yanma tries to act like he doesn't give a flying you-know-what. Himeno acts like he's the center of the universe on base level. But when you really dig down and you see how they interact with their people, how they treat their people, the people recognize that while they might be, you know, in the servitude or in the kingdom of these people, they matter.
Mm-hmm.
And quite honestly, that's more than I can say for most any country in the real world.
Yeah. I mean, and this honestly goes back to a point that I brought up in Shinkenger when we were talking about it. Why are we following this specific group of King-Ohgers? And it's not because they won, it's because why they won. It seemed like a lot of the other rulers were corrupt in some way and were selfish and seemed like they were a bigger cause of the divide between the nations than the uniting of those nations. But these 6 were going against the mold, just like how the current Shinkengers that we followed were going against the established mold of their roles. And lo and behold, they're the ones that pulled through because they had the entire world behind them, which there's nothing saying that the previous King-Ohgers had that luxury. And that led to their eventual victory. So
it did. And also, if you think about it, Shinkenger broke the mold of the samurai way a little bit too.
Exactly.
Like, they didn't just follow all the traditions. They questioned stuff. They did stuff their own way.
Yeah. Like, I always bring up Ryosuke being the one to land the killing blow on Dokuku. Previous teams, that would not have gone. You couldn't have gotten away with that.
Like, every character in King-Ohger had their moment to shine throughout the season. It's not like in Time Ranger. I'm sorry, guys, but it's not like in Time Ranger when we ignore Yuri for 90% of the season and Tatsuya doesn't get good until, I don't know, episode 25, 30, something like that. Like, each of these characters, for the most part, had their time to shine. And yeah, I didn't think Gira was all that special in the beginning, but the thing you realize about Gira as you look back on it is he always had the heart to do greatness. He always wanted to do right by the people. Yeah, he had that annoying laugh. Ah ha ha ha, I'm the evil king. Like, I know he was all like annoying with that stuff, but it was his way to project to his people that he's different than the last king. that he's different from the king that came before that king, because all the other kings hid their evilness and tried to persuade them that they knew better because they wanted to maintain power. Gira didn't give a flying what about power, and that's even more exemplified, in my opinion, in that movie that y'all haven't seen yet. Like, there are some scenes in that movie where they talk about it, and Gira's like, "Yeah, I want to rule this place in my own way to support the people," and that is a huge thing. And I mean, that's something all 6 of them had. I mean, look at Jeremy, for God's sake. The guy took over the villains, basically, and made them legitimately good characters. And I just cannot say enough good stuff about the entire cast. I mean, Nate and I were talking this afternoon via text on and off, but they have a lot of breaking the tier list that we've been making all this time. Like,
Yep.
our tier lists have been shattered by this season.
But what I really want to give a shout out with this episode is how, like, I know that we just started talking about the cast and all, but I love how, like, honestly, like 80% of this episode isn't really about the King-Ohgers. It's about the people wanting to rise up. And I feel like that's what kind of makes me think that, like, this is, like, probably the best, like, first episode of an Endgame arc I've ever seen. Because they could have easily just made this, like, 20-minute episode where, like, oh no, the King-Ohgers are battling against Dogdead and he's too powerful. What are they going to do? And that's there, but it's glanced over because the series kind of knows we've already kind of done a good job at establishing that this guy is like an invincible god, so we don't have to waste so much time, showcasing how powerful this guy is. Like we've already established that this guy is so powerful that he could kill, I mean, I guess the most powerful villain in Power Rangers is like Dark Spectre. Like, he could kill Dark Spectre by just flicking his pinky at Dark Spectre or something like that. Like,
okay, literally, he's Thanos.
Yeah, exactly.
And I do want to bring up something else that just made me laugh, and I feel like Anthony would greatly appreciate this reference. The scene in the beginning of the episode where they're discussing building the new mech combination, and they talk about, like, this being a mech to battle a god. I got severe Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann vibes from this, Anthony.
I knew he was going to say that because I was thinking the exact same thing.
Dude. The entire time that is going on, I'm like, I wonder how big this mech's going to get. Will this mech become as big as a galaxy? Is this mech about to take actual galaxies and throw them like throwing stars? Is that going to happen here? Are we going to have that level of epicness in a Sentai? Like, again, I forget we're watching a Sentai. This feels like a freaking anime. Okay, I'm done.
What do we want to get 48 out of 10?
10.
10.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
I kind of have to.
Them Gira stocks
I was going to say 9.5 because I wanted to save my 10s, but you know what? Everybody's giving this 10. I'm giving it 10.
No, we're right at the end. No, we're at the end. Just let it all out.
Okay,
10
everywhere.
Look, Nate, this isn't the time.
So, I said this in the...
I was gonna make...
Oh, go ahead.
No, you're... I promise you have a chance to make your point still. All I'm going to say is, Nate, this isn't the time to be a reviewer and, like, hold your 10s because something better is coming. This is your time to be a fan and say, hell yeah, this season was amazing.
Yep.
So, let it out, baby. All right, Anthony, you have the floor. I'm going to set up now. I'm going to mute.
No, what I was going to say was that I said this on Instagram. I was like, yeah, the Gira stocks are so high, I could literally buy 20 mansions. If they were real, I could literally buy 20 mansions with it.
Like,
yeah.
When you said that in the group chat earlier, Anthony, I stopped to think about the statement you made in relation to our red tier list. Because, I finished the season last night, but I hadn't really thought about the red tier. I was more focused on the other colors.
Yeah.
But, dude, his stocks really did
Mhm.
rise. I mean, he may not be the top red. He's still pretty freaking awesome, though.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
He already pretty much beat Don Momotaro. And I watched this season last time, but I was like, but now I'm like, yeah, this dude
Yeah.
definitely topped him.
and I
Alright,
mean, when he started off, he was like a C tier red in the beginning for me, like for like 20 episodes at least.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to episode 49. The Kings are here. We pick up where we left off previous episode. Gira confronts Dog Dead. He loses his spirit when the when the castle crashes after taking off, and Dog Dead is like, Kiro Jim killed your people, but we all know that didn't happen. The people of Shikyu, they're led by Rackless, and this is where the in-game stuff, where they're clearly trying to mimic what Endgame did, but I'm not going to complain because they do it pretty dang good. So no one's complaining about that. And I don't know, this really just showcases how Dog Dead really is Thanos. They all arrive, they help their respective kings get up, and they announce, we're staging a rebellion against all of your wishes because we want to revolt against Dog Dead too. Dog Dead unleashes an army of bug monsters and shoe gods. Gira and Rackless. Basically, I mean, they do exactly what Cap did in Endgame. They say Avengers Assemble, and then they charge forward. They engage Dog Dead's forces. Huge all-out battle that, I mean, I don't know what else to say. And the other King-Ogres have to recover. Dog Dead gains the upper hand briefly, but thankfully the ruler of Hakabaka, Devonica, she arrives with several dead allies of the King-Ogres. We have Himeno's parents. We have Boshimaru, an old that person from Shugodum that Kirajin was imitating. We have Rita's mentor Karasu, Desnarak, Jeremy's mother. The other King-Ogres, they're recovering while Karasu and I can't remember what her name was. The woman that was Kaguraki's predecessor. It starts with an S, but yeah, she comes in and they transform into Papillion and Hachi-Ogre respectively to assist. So we get to see what the Hachi-Ogre's suit looks like in a female version. First time since I think since Gokaiger, I think, where we've been able to see like the female alternative of the suit. That's pretty cool. The fight rages on. The King-Ogres regroup on the sidelines. They've regained their fighting spirit, and the undead body of Rackless's ancestor, the founding king of Shugodum, Raineal Husty, he arrives from the land of the dead, and he engages Dog Dead in battle. But then everybody disappears because the door to Hakabaka has reached its limit. And the King-Ogres are motivated by the Husty ancestor that life will continue eternally. And they all take up arms and they basically say, okay, Dog Dead, you have to fight us. Final battle is about to begin. Let's go, bitch. And that's how this episode ends.
Now, before we get into the analysis part, Nate, I'm going to do a quick summary of the movie because I think the movie is going to help bridge some of the gap here.
Okay.
So, the King-Ohger movie, Adventure Heavens, I think it's called, or Heaven Adventure, one of the two. The movie is set in that little time gap we have after part 1 of King-Ohger. It's basically set to be Gira's coronation to become a king. And you find out that when a person is to become the king of that kingdom, they have to be taken back to the land of the dead to learn the real history of Sikyu. So they're transported back to this world of the dead, and I'm not going to give too many spoilers away. That's the extent of the spoilers, really. But in this world, they encounter King Rionol. They encounter Kaguraki's predecessor. Himeno meets her parents. So a lot of the stuff that we're seeing here, including the lady in the red dress, she has significance to Rugira. So all of these different characters get a chance to meet people from their life that help kind of form where they are today. And so when you see these characters come out to help, it's not just because they're like from the same kingdom or the same people. They had a personal connection in each case. So quite literally, this is an endgame level thing because in the endgame's portal scene, you have, every minor character come out to help because they all had an impact in some way. You see Thor's Valkyrie friends like Sif and all them. You see all the minor Guardians of the Galaxy. You see Ant-Man. You see all these other people who are kind of in and out of the universe. They don't really matter as much, but they all had a role to play. Just like here. And so that's kind of the context at a high level. There's a lot more to it than that I'm leaving out. But I want to give that context because I felt like it's important for y'all to know it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to check that out. I don't normally watch the the side movies. Like, I haven't even seen a Gokaiger's Ghost Ship movie, to be honest. But
I did.
Okay, well, I'm sure that one's good too. But
that's all right.
Yeah, that might be a movie that I might feel. That might be a Sentai movie where I'm kind of willing to break my. I don't know. I like watching the crossover movies, but not the actual movies.
Yeah, I would like to actually do a podcast on that movie at some point, give it its due diligence, because I feel like that movie had a lot going for it that we're not able to hit on today.
Yeah, totally. That would be great.
But I talked a good bit there. Nate talked a good bit. Pat, Anthony, y'all can go first talking about this.
Yep.
I'm still trying to put my thoughts together. You can go first if you want to.
Okay. Yeah, this was actually a really, really good episode. Like, a lot happened, and it just shows that these 6 kingdoms, when they all come together, they can become something incredible. And the fact that, it is also interesting that I'm glad that the people decided not to run, because if they did, they would have fell right into Kajima's trap. And if they had, if Goroje is the guy that he was trying to disguise himself as. If he hadn't shown up in time, they probably would have gotten that ship, and they probably would have thought everything was going to be okay if they had not decided to check the backpack to see what the messages were in. And fun fact, so Iroki, the previous Tofu ruler, you'll say this, she's actually the first Black Ranger in Sentai history, believe it or not. Not counting the Gokaiger, because they did the transformation thing.
Okay, because Hyperforce had a Black Ranger
yes.
that was female.
Yeah, I know. I didn't count Power Rangers. I just count Sentai wise.
I think a lot of my
Well, it was only brief. No, I was gonna say it was only brief, but that's it.
A lot of my thoughts on this episode, I kind of already spoke about last episode, because last episode was more of the substance And this episode was more of kind of like the stylistic payoff for a lot of the substance that was dropped last episode. It was cool to see a lot of interactions. Like, it was cool to see Rita and Kaguraki's predecessors pick up arms and fight to let them rest. It was cool to see Jeremy and his mom reunite officially for the first time. It was just nice. There was just some really cool little character interactions and moments, and I guess deserve spotlight moments for characters that kind of needed them just for the sake of having them. But yeah, this was just nice payoff for the last episode. Not much else to say.
Yeah, I mean, I know that we compared the whole thing to Endgame. I personally also, I don't know, the music was great. The music didn't give me Endgame vibes. It gave me more of like the vibes I get when I'm watching like epic moments from Lord of the Rings. But hey, I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan too, so I'm not complaining. Well,
aesthetically, this fits Lord of the Rings better anyway, in a lot of ways.
It had weird moments of Endgame vibes and Lord of the Ring vibes all put together, and like Nate, I'm here for all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because to me, Endgame, the movie, was the second to last really good Marvel movie we've gotten from the MCU. Obviously, Patrick knows the other one. The last good movie.
What,
Spider-Man?
No Way Home? No, I thought Guardians 3 was amazing, but that's just me.
I haven't seen it.
I still haven't seen it yet, so I can't say.
You need to, but
anyway, it gives really big vibes on that. The entire time, it just goes from epic close-up scene of them battling, and the choreography is amazing for all of this. And then you pan out, and you see a Lord of the Rings style battle where you see one army running to the other army, and you see like the class and them like zooming in for a split second on this guy fighting, this person fighting, and it's epic. Yeah, I have no other words to put except for epic.
Yeah, like the Pelennor, like on the level of like the Pelennor Fields battle from Return of the King.
Yeah,
maybe the Black Gate battle. I prefer the Pelennor Fields battle more than the Black Gate battle.
Pelennor is better to me.
I prefer
honestly, Helm's Deep vibes are kind of high here too.
Oh yeah, Helm's Deep.
Yeah, Helm's Deep is one we can all agree on.
Oh yeah.
But no, this.
One more thing though. You know what low-key kind of remind me of too, just a tiny bit, and I know that you might not agree, and that's fine. I just kind of like noticed it too. It had a tiny, small midget version. It gave me Countdown to Destruction too from Power Rangers.
What vibes?
It gave me that
Countdown
vibe
to Destruction,
like,
because the civilians,
civilians
coming to help the Rangers. Yeah,
I can
see it. Because that is the only time in Power Rangers where that's happened. Also,
it gave me similar vibes to when Bulk and Skull are like, "Let's get in there."
No, it gives me similar vibes to when they say, "I'm a Ranger too." No, I'm a Ranger. I'm the Red Ranger. I'm the Pink Ranger.
I'm Spartacus.
You get a morpher?
I am the Silver Ranger.
Oh, Professor Prometheus, I think it's his name.
No, Phenomenus said he was the Red Ranger.
Phenomenus, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The old guy did say, some old guy did say he was the Silver Ranger.
He had to like count on his fingers, too.
Yeah, he's like
but no, Nate, this is a 10.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is one where even if you guys weren't going to give it 10s, I was going to give it 10. I'm not holding back.
Yeah, same here.
Oh, I'm giving it 10 regardless. If I give it 11, I would give it 11.
Oh, if I could give something higher than 10, I would give this higher than 10.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not holding back on this episode.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the final episode. We will rule the world. Pretty much this whole thing is the final battle with Dog Dead. All 6 King-Ohgers transform, and they begin battling Dog Dead. Yama's Inkosopa gang, they're able to create a substitute for Jeremy's eternal life. by using a crystallized life of the Shoe Gods as a new source. Jeremy defeats Karojim in battle, and Desnarak drags him back into Hakapaka. So that's pretty cool.
It's so hilarious to me that Desnarak just comes back, and then he also drags this mofo back with him to Hakapaka. Like, you're coming with me.
I came back to life to spite you in particular.
He's like, yeah, you're the reason I'm dead, so screw you.
So the King-Ohgers, they corner Dog Dead, and he enlarges. So the King-Ohgers, they harness the life energy as power. It's kind of similar to what, much better, I want to clarify, because I don't want to compare this to an Power Ranger season, but it's kind of similar to that part of the Mystic Force finale where they harness the power to get their powers back, but it's done better because they're harnessing.
Nah, bro, hold up. I got a better example for you.
This is a
Anthony,
spirit
you know what
bomb.
I'm gonna say. Yes.
This is a spirit bomb.
Yeah.
Genki Dama.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This spirit bomb moment, baby. This ain't no Mystic Force nonsense. This is a full-on, lend me your strength and let's form a big energy ball to crush our enemies.
And I do want to talk about this moment for a brief second too, because this kind of goes back to the point I was talking about earlier about them being so, supportive of their community and having the people willing to come back and help them. This wouldn't have been possible if they didn't have the people of their countries like them.
Yeah,
because they needed every person on this planet to do this, to make this work. So, like you said, why did we follow this particular group of King-Ohgers? This is why, right here, this moment. The whole world is united behind them, which is probably something that's never happened in their history before.
it says a lot that these people are willing to fight and to possibly die while their kings are eating their dinner to try and regain their strength so that they can fight. And they have that goofy moment where they all start to laugh and make jokes and stuff while there's an epic battle going on next to them. But to the people's minds, and even to the King-Ohger's mind, they needed that sense of normalcy for a minute to recuperate. Because if you were going into battle with high anxiety, couldn't function, you'd be a hot mess. So the people provided them the cover to regroup in a way that the good guys normally don't get to get. So that comes down to these kings being so dang beloved. And queen, because Himeno's an absolute freaking queen.
Yeah.
But anyway, they're able to harness that life energy, and that's allows them to unlock God King-Ohger's and they battle Dog Dead in his little pocket dimension where Gira makes a speech about like linked souls and like hopes and dreams being stronger than anything Dog Dead has, and that motivates the Shoe Gods. It sends them into a literally burning resolve, like they start burning, and they deal a fatal blow to Dog Dead, which sends him crashing back to Shikyu, and then all 6 of the King-Ohgers finish him off with a final blow together. And Dog Dead, I mean, he gets Thanos. He goes up in dust, like the way that people go up in dust.
Hang on. I got it. He doggone it.
No. Dog dead.
No, I'll do one better.
Yeah, he dog died.
He dog dead.
Dog dead, dog died. Okay, you know what? I'll give you that free pass for that stupid dad joke this time. That worked.
I'm getting my nose on.
I don't know.
For some reason.
No.
We go far.
We have to move the pause here so I can make this comment. I don't know what it is, Nate, but ever since we started doing Rail Rider podcast, The dad jokes keep flowing out of me, and I can't stop them.
I know. You are literally on the level of like Shoryu Blue in terms of those stupid dad jokes.
That's
But
horrible.
I'm on the
That's
level
a
of bad.
horrible thing to think about.
But I'm also on the level of our Lord and Savior Marvelous in terms of badassery.
Yeah,
I don't know. Have you stabbed yourself in the foot to shoot somebody in the face? No, I didn't think so.
I would.
He would if he could.
If I had to, I would. Screw it. Consequences be damned.
That's probably my
Anyway,
favorite Marvelous moment, though.
I just haven't had a reason to fight Bosco yet.
It really is.
So the King-Ohgers, they return to their people. You know, they cheer on their victories. Yanma reveals, well, I still have the Shoe God soul. So even though the Shoe Gods were burned, I can still recreate them. And we, you know, just a huge, like, you know, final battle victory celebration. And then we get our epilogue where Jeremy narrates the events they carried through after the battle. The King-Ohgers initially attempted to unify all their kingdoms, but those plans fell through because they couldn't decide on a name for the new kingdom, which that was pretty funny. But despite the unification not working out, all kingdoms still remain peaceful, open. You know, they're open to like the different cultures of the kingdoms. And that basically leaves room for eventual peaceful unification. And the series ends where, you know, Jeremy vows that the King-Ohgers will always protect Shikyu no matter what. And then he tells the audience, hey, it's up to you guys to continue this never-ending story. And that's how it happened. That's literally how Jeremy ends all of his narrations.
I love that narration. And that happened.
Dosa.
Dosa.
That's how he says it.
We also got to take a moment to just commiserate at Gira's unfortunate luck that every time he thinks he can do an epic, like, Red Ranger moment, they knock him over and say, get out of here, punk.
Right. I'm like, give the guy a break, man. Like, just let him have it, bruh.
It's how the season began, it's how the season ended.
Yeah, some things never change, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I want to give a shout out to the Megazord battle. Well, okay, like the mech battle with, you know, Dog Dead, because that, like, I don't know many Sentais that have done this, but I really love final battles between the main villains with the mechs, like the Go-Onger final battle where they make that big speech to I can't remember what Venjix's final form's counterparts was called.
It's something. What Humekestein, I think, is what his name was. Something along that. Yeah.
Like,
I think so. Yeah.
Like one of my favorite final battles in Sentai is Bokenger, because they make this really, like, and this is on par with like the Bokenger final battle, which, I mean, that's a compliment for me, because like they make this big speech to Gaja about, like, you know, human life being like the ultimate treasure, and then they just beat him down with all of their like machines. Like, this is on par with that. Like, they make a huge speech about how you may be a god, but, you know, we value life, and you may play around with life as if it's just a toy to you, but life is linked and it will continue on eternally, and that's more powerful than anything that you have, bitch. And then they just beat him. Like, it's that like, in fact, this might be my favorite final big bad villain versus mech battle, because Sentai doesn't do that all the time. Like the Gokaiger didn't fight Actos Gil with Gokaio or something like that. But this is the only final mech battle that might be on par with this. Maybe the final battle with Dokoku and Shinkino, but
just the charge of the origami getting blown off while they're charging the blade. I don't know. There's just something kind of badass about that. we gotta get close to him.
It is, yeah.
But even then, I would still say that this is pretty comfortable.
This was a lot more
grandiose
and cinematic. Man, this might be, in terms of visual effects, the best mech fight in all of Sentai. having King-Ohger grow inside of his little pocket dimension, and they literally had a Dragon Ball battle where they're just throwing each other against walls, shooting beams at one another. Like, what the heck is going on here?
I know, like, both me and Riz were like thinking about like Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. We wished that we saw some
I mean,
galaxies.
how big his pocket dimension was close enough. You just didn't see it visually, but close enough.
It really could have happened.
Right.
And also, Nathan, if you like this type of mech battle, do yourself a favor and watch Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann.
Okay.
Yeah, there's two ways to watch it. You can watch the 25, 24 series, or you can watch the two movies that are based on it.
Okay, I'll check that.
Well, if he watches the movies, he'll still get both of them. But like, it's if you don't want to sit through all those episodes, the movies are there too. Yeah, as an option.
Series.
I'll add that to my list of things to watch after I'm done with Sentai. But yeah, this is. I mean, I'm just gonna get this out of the way. This is another 10 for me, and I mean, and I tend to be like, I do tend to give a lot of Sentai finales 10s because I think Sentai. I mean, not all of them, of course. Like they're like I didn't give the G Ranger or Geki Ranger finales 10s, but you guys.
Well, you didn't like the dinosaur eggs?
You guys know how I feel about those stupid dinosaur eggs.
No, trust me, I relate. That was the most useless plot line in any Sentai ever.
But
I would prefer to cook them things, honestly.
Yeah, no. Give me a T-Rex omelet. It'll be a better use of those things than what Zoo Ranger did with them.
Right.
No, but I love like the epilogue where we're seeing like how the kingdoms are interacting with each other, because that's another thing that I love that this season did. Like it really emphasized like the differences in cultures with those kingdoms, because I remember watching like the first couple of episodes and thinking, okay, I hope they're doing a good job of establishing this, but I really hope that they don't just abandon that midway through the series or something. They didn't. And that plays a part in this finale. Like, that might be my favorite part. I do. Go ahead.
Just saying the shot of seeing the other kingdoms, teaching other kingdoms their cultures, like the Nogasopa teaching other kingdoms like tech. Like, shout out to that one Bugnarot guy who understood technology. Shout out.
Right. He's like, no, you gotta do this, and then hit this, and then you get it.
But it was cool to see like them teaching their cultures to the other kingdoms to try to like as like a sign of unify. What's the word I'm looking for? A sign of unifying. Like, because it's clear that they're slowly seeking into the unifying the nations, and that's one way of doing it.
Yeah, like they don't have to be like like one big kingdom. They could just be 6 kingdoms who just coexist with each other.
And that was the ultimate point.
I guess my only nitpick here, and this doesn't affect my score, is I kind of wish that they played the theme song of the show over the epilogue, because every Super Sentai season does that, where they play the theme song over, like, I don't think Shinkenger did it, but I do know Go Kaiger did it when they were flying away in the galleon. Bokenger does it. That's a thing that I love.
Shinkenger played its real emotional like moment theme, which I think worked better because it was a sorrow farewell. But yeah, I'm actually upset that the King-Ohger theme never appeared in the final episode because they didn't even play the intro.
Yeah.
So
yeah. No. But that's just a minor thing. Like, I'm not going to take off a point for there being no theme song. That's, I mean, it's still, the substance is still there and it's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I still like the visual of them when they killed Dog Dead. They just turned around and walked away and then high-fived each other as they walked. Like, they didn't make a big deal about it. They wanted to wait to celebrate until they got back to their people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then they threw like a Super Bowl celebration party on the field after they got back to the people. I like Yano was like, I love you, raccoon brains.
The Bug Rocks. I love how like the Bug Rocks were like just flicking.
I love this view.
Like,
yeah.
So let this view.
Riz, what do you want to say about the finale?
This finale is so flippin' epic. Like, I just love every second of it. Like the relation with the servants, the people, the King-Ohgers themselves, the entire thing. Just there's nothing. I have no complaints. I have nothing to complain about.
Rare.
I know,
That's
right?
Rare. You're usually the most critical person here.
If I had a complaint, I'm gonna say it's over.
I thought it ended right where it needed to, perfectly.
Yeah.
Like
nothing about this felt like it overstayed its welcome.
No, it didn't. It all felt very organic. It felt like this entire series has maybe 1 or 2 filler episodes, I think, if even that. And even the filler episodes are like really good. And I'm looking at you, Clipso. You're not even a real Clipso. You can't even be a Clipso. You're a real
That Clip Show was probably one of the most story important episodes of the season.
Yeah.
That's the insane
somehow.
I mean, really. Like, you can't fool us.
You tried to fool me by thinking, oh, it's a Clipso, I better ignore it. Nope.
No.
Nope.
This is important information for the test.
Nope.
But no, legitimately, like this is such a great ending, and it's because of the characters, it's because of the side characters, it's because of the villains, and just the story that they're telling. It's all very well woven together. And honestly, Nate, if the Sentai writer comes back, this might take on the status of GOAT writer for Sentai. I'm sorry.
I literally said that in the chat, that this person has the potential to be better than Yasuko Kobayashi. So I'm not disagreeing with you on that.
Yeah, like 10 out of 10. That's all I'm going to say. 11 out of 10 if I'm allowed to, but 10 out of 10 most
10
definitely.
out of 10.
Hold on, I'm trying to look up who the writer of the next Sentai is. But you were going to say something, Anthony?
So you guys remember earlier when I said that I could buy, like with Gira stocks, I could buy 20 mansions. Did I say 20? I meant 60. It's like it's that freaking high. Like, wow. Like,
but you were just giving a 10 to the finale, right, Riz?
Yeah.
What about Patrick and Anthony?
Yeah, I'll give it a 10 also.
Oh, you already gave. You know, I gave. I when we started this 3-parter, I said, and I quote, "I'm giving all 10s throughout the entire thing."
He has a point.
Yeah. We're fair warned.
Nate, what are you going to give it? What are you going to give it?
I already said I was going to give it a 10 when I started talking about it.
Okay, then.
10, yeah.
So 10 out of 10, probably best finale of any Sentai.
Yeah, it's up there. And by the way, it doesn't look like, I don't know, I was looking up who the head writer of Boom Boonger is. It looks like a guy who's done a lot of anime work. I don't think he's been on Sentai before, but I don't know. We'll see.
What anime?
Like, he's worked on he's actually done a lot of Pokemon stuff and Dragon Ball stuff. So, his name is Tomi. Yeah, Super.
If you do Dragon Ball Super, I got some faith here.
Well, if he plays it, if they play it more comedic, I think that might work out better. Which it looks like it might be more comedic.
It's more parody, I hope.
Yeah, I mean that
demand a Car Ranger sequel. No, me
no,
either.
He did work on one. He did write one Sentai episode for one Sentai. Please don't ask me. It's Ghost Danger. Damn it.
Uh-oh. Wind chimes intensifies.
Please let Boom Boom Trip be good, please. Especially after we just got this amazing Sentai. But if it's a parody, if it's one of those Sentais that's stupid, knows it's stupid, and embraces how stupid it is, I'll accept that.
Well, it was the theme for the last two Car Sentais. Car Ranger and Go-Onger were both goofy. So
yeah, so I can deal with that.
Yeah.
But let's jump into just analyzing King-Ohger. We're going to talk about what the villains. Do we want to talk about Dog Dead a bit more? Because I think we've already kind of spoken everything we need to say.
I don't think they added anything more to him than we've already discussed. So I do want to talk that. Yeah, no. I do want to say that I'm glad they gave Desmond Narak a little bit of closure here because they did kind of establish at the end of his arc in the first half of the season that he wasn't necessarily evil per se. He was just like a victim of discrimination almost. And they brought him back to life and they found out that, wait a minute, the discrimination wasn't a human's fault, it was your fault. I'm beating you up and I'm dragging you to hell with my own hands. So Desnarak got a nice little bit of closure. So I do think in hindsight I like his character a lot more than initially led on. Yeah. No.
But now we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, these villains, I mean, they're not on par with like I wouldn't say that they're like on par with like the complexities and like of like the Jetman villains, but they're fun villains. Like they're not boring and forgettable. Like
no, they all have personality.
They all have personality, but if I had to give this show one weakness, I think its villains were very, I guess, simplistic.
Yeah.
They were more so devices to be obstacles than they were actual characters. Like, yeah, Jetman is still the standard for villains. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I can agree with you on that. That's the one thing that Jetman had really going for it, I felt. And Guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
everything else.
I mean, I'll give these villains credit, but I feel like Dog Dead has a much bigger threat factor than what we're used to seeing in Sentai. Like, the only villain that I feel like may have a slightly bigger, that might have like a threat factor that could begin to approach it is oddly enough, maybe the main villain of Changeman, but they don't really emphasize it that much. But like, I mean, he was a really big, like, cosmic level type of, villain. Okay. Same way with Dog Dead, Changeman's villains are good, but I'm not. But
yeah,
I would say that they do a better job of like emphasizing just like the phenomenal like cosmic powers. I know I just made an Aladdin reference, but whatever. To Dog.
It's a little living space.
You beat me to it, Patrick.
Huh?
You beat me to it.
I mean, Aladdin's my favorite Disney movie. I had to make the reference.
I'm brown. It has to be my favorite.
Let's go into we'll talk about the characters now. Like, let's go over each of the Rangers. Each of us can do that, and we just rank them from best to worst. I know that's. I don't even want to say worst because none of these characters are terrible. It's just who's the lowest by default. Kind of like how we put Mako. I'll put Mako as like the worst Shinkenger. Like, okay, when you compare her to the other Shinkenger, she's not as great. But is she a bad pink? No.
No. No.
Who wants to go first with that?
Better than Yuri.
Time Ranger's still fresh on our minds. It's very obvious. I'll go. I'll probably give. I still say Himeno's my favorite. I just like her overall her empathetic side that's very strong with her. Jeremy's 2. Yanma, Gira, Rita, and Kaguraki. I still think Kaguraki was severely underhandled. He had a lot more going for him as the season went along, especially when it was established that he knew that Arrakis was that he had his plan and he was kind of like his inside guide, making sure that his plan stayed true to form. But I don't think that did enough for his actual character to put him up any higher than this. If I may, though, I do want to put Rackless maybe. I do want to put him on this list somewhere, though, because I think he more than deserves it at this point. And if that's the case, I might want to put him number 3 above Yanma, just because his whole story is probably the best character arc or the best character story of any Ranger in Sentai history. Because, man, I don't know what else to say about him.
Anthony, you want to go?
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm not going to complain about that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that makes sense. Riz?
This is so hard. Okay. Obviously, Himeno's number 1. I think I have a hard time with this because I think they're all so fantastic.
Yeah, that's the one thing that sucks about having all 6 characters being great.
Yeah, like
one has to be last.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. I like them all for so many different reasons that I can't just put one, like next, like it's hard. I will say that Himeno, Yanma, Rita, Kaguragi, Zermi are all S tier characters to me. Gira is a high A, low S tier. I can't decide where to put that boy yet. But Yeah, if I'm gonna rank them, okay, I'm not gonna try and rank them by like who I like better from this season. I'm gonna rank them on like color
Yeah.
because I think that's easier.
Yeah, that's fair.
Himeno, best yellow to me. I've given this a lot of thought. I know Domon was the guy that I was bragging and praising like one episode ago, but Himeno just hits very different to me. Like Domon's still a very solid number 2, but Himeno has number 1 for me. Rita is the best purple, white, pink, whatever category you want to call that.
Yeah, I'm putting her in the same category as pink and white. Like,
yeah, I'm using your tier list for that, like your color list. Yanma's number 1, right ahead of
ISA.
ISA. I was blanking on the guy's name for a second. Kagaragi is not number 1 for me. Like, he's probably going to end up, if we blend black and green, I would say that he's probably top 5, top 10 at worst. Because you got characters like Guy, you got characters like Chiaki. I'm sure there are other characters that I'm going to like more than him down the line, but
Joe, Black Condor.
I said Black Condor.
I thought you. Oh, you did? Okay, yeah.
I said Guy.
Guy. Yeah. There's a couple of others I can think of off the top of my head that I would probably like more than him.
Yeah.
I'm curious, Pepper,
Mega
would you
Black.
put Ichiro, Mega Black ahead of him?
Yes, absolutely. I would put Mega Black ahead of him. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So, I think, who does that leave for me? Jeremy's the best Sixth Ranger, hands down.
Yeah.
And then
Mhm.
Gira, I mean, okay, so I understand Anthony's huge rise in stock for him. I have a huge rise in stock for him as well. But I don't think he can beat out Marvelous and Takeru.
Mm-mm.
But he definitely makes a really good case for being in that top 5, top 10 territory. So, yeah. That's where I'm going to leave it.
What about Rackless?
Rackless is probably the best extra ranger. And I also think Patrick's correct in saying that he's got one of the best Sentai stories of all time.
Mm-hmm. I have a question for you, Nate, real quick before you go into it. Where would you put Kagaraki in comparison to Jiraiya? Because I think he's an underrated character in terms of Green and Black Rangers.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I like. Yeah.
I know, right? Well, I love my boy Jiraiya.
I would rank Kagaraki. Well, okay, I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, that's really tough.
Yeah.
But for my rankings, I mean, so I'm putting Jeremy first. He was my favorite character. Plus, he's also. I'm still gonna say that Boken Silver is my favorite Sixth Ranger for selfish reasons. But if I rank top 5, I still put Jeremy as number 1, even though I have Boken Silver there for selfish reasons. Rita's number 2. I mean, she's the best. You know, I really love her character. Yama number 3, best Blue Ranger. I literally said this going into this Sentai. I'm all like, man, I just say he's the GOAT Blue Ranger. Nobody is ever going to top him. And then here comes Yama and says, "Hello, allow me to introduce myself." And that's exactly what happened. I'm gonna put Rackless after Yama just because. I mean, the only extra Ranger character that's on par with him. And even then, I don't even want to count him as an extra ranger, even though Gokaiger does. It would be Hyuga, but let's be honest, Hyuga's more of a Sixth Ranger than he is in.
Yeah. Hyuga's a great character, though, and we're going to get familiar with him in a little bit, because Gingaman is next, but he's not on Rackless's level.
I know. Then I'm putting Himeno after Rackless, not because I still like her probably as much as you guys. Amazing Yellow, but the reason why I'm putting her down here is because, I mean, she's still not she's either 2 or 3 for yellow for me. Still an amazing yellow. And maybe when I rewatch the show again, which I'm going to, spoiler alert, maybe Himeno will be number 1. But
who has your number 1? Domon?
Yeah, Domon.
And then number 2 would be...
Again, it's Kotoha for very selfish reasons. Himeno was a better character than Kotoha. I know. Very selfish.
I mean, I respect it. I don't agree with it, but I respect
I don't agree. Yeah, no, exactly.
I mean, I will say that I do think Domon is a better written character than Himeno, but I still think I might like Himeno more personally than Domon, which is saying a lot given how much I just kissed Domon's butt all throughout the Time Ranger review.
I mean, okay, so when we were doing the Time Ranger series, I kept thinking to myself, man, I'm making some bold claims saying that Domon's the best yellow when I know Himeno might beat him. But I still made the claims anyway, because the stocks are rising, man.
Yeah. Then I put Gira. I mean, just because I'm feeling tempted to put him in my top 5 nowadays for Sentai Reds, but he's still not number 1. It would probably be Takeru still for me. That's the main reason why he's so low. Like, I put some of these characters low, not because I think they're bad, but because, like, there are some of these where I legitimately think, like, this is the best Sixth Ranger, this is the best blue, but is Gira the best red? I don't think we could ever make it. And then I'm going to put Kaguragi last. I think he's a great black. I'm probably going to have to redo my top 5. Maybe I'll take out Kyoryu Black Ian from there and like put him in. But and I probably rank him. I would rank him ahead of. I would rank him ahead of Abar Black for sure. I really like Asuka, but I think he's Abar Black. But okay, I'm going to give myself a headache trying to decide whether or not I like him better than Jiraiya. But
I gave you something to think about, didn't I?
Yeah.
Who is Jiraiya?
A Ninja Black Kaku Ranger.
Okay.
Love that dude. He's so cool.
Yeah, but he's not better than Guy. I mean, he's not better than Guy. Guy will always be the GOAT Black.
Shinken Green and Black Condor would be the Shinken Green and Black Condor would be the leads on this category.
Yeah.
And he's still a great black, very great character. But he's still at the bottom because like you guys kind of said, he didn't really become interesting until like the last, like we were approaching the home stretch of the series.
Like the last 12, 13 episodes.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even because of his character, it was because of his role in the story.
Well, okay, so I think if we had watched the movie when we should have, like back in the episode 20 era, we might have had a different opinion about Kaguragi, honestly.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because the revelations we had in the season were heavily brought up in the movie.
I'll go back and watch it sometime.
Yeah, I think
we can review the movie just because we don't want to let King-Ohger go. We can review that movie.
Oh no, we gotta do that movie. Then we gotta do the verse Don Brothers, and we gotta do the verse Kyoryuger.
Oh, I want to do that versus Kyoryuger thing so bad.
Oh man, that's gonna be so great.
Because don't they have King's actor coming back for that movie?
Yeah. I think they showed the trailer. Kyoryu Red and Kyoryu Gold are back.
Oh,
Nate, go look at my Instagram later on.
Okay.
I posted a photo a couple of weeks ago of them showing King in the background walking back. And I also saw a photo the other day of Utsi.
Yeah, he's gonna be there.
And whoever Purple is, I forgot her name.
Yayoi.
Yeah.
Yayoi, yeah. Oh, she's gonna be back too?
That's what I saw, yeah.
Wow.
It was on Reddit a couple of days ago. Now,
yeah,
that's true.
Now, I have probably the most important question of the night for you three.
And we
Okay.
can use that to transition to like, if I'm thinking what it is, we can use that to transition to the next section.
Where does this season rank for you guys?
2.
Behind Shinkenzer still?
For one very important reason for me personally, and it's because Shinkenger's characters are still grounded, and I prefer grounded characters. I love the King-Ohger characters a lot, but they don't have that same kind of like day-to-day life, personal conflict that the Shinkenger characters have, and I found myself more emotional when it came to the Shinkenger cast and their problems and stuff that they went through, and that means a lot more to me. King-Ohger is the better season. I will say that. I think King-Ohger is better than Shinkenger, but the emotional connection I have with Shinkenger, nothing's going to break that. But going into the finale, Time Ranger was sitting at number 2 for me, and this beats Time Ranger out of the water easily.
I mean, that wasn't a hard thing to beat out the water, though, to me.
No. But I mean, even then, the gap between Shinkenger and Time Ranger was a large gap for me to begin with anyway. But this
was a huge gap.
This fits snugly into number 2 with ease. So Time Ranger sits at 3, and when we get done with our Ginga Man watch through, that'll determine what's 3 and 4, because I'm sure Ginga Man's going to be up there with those two, even after the rewatch.
All right, Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're thinking Shinkenzer, then King-Ohger, then what? Yeah. Okay, and Nate.
I feel guilty taking this Sentai out of my top 5, not King-Ohger, this different Sentai that I'm about to name, because I've always wanted to have like a Showa era Sentai in my top 5, which is why I always had Live Man there. But I feel tempted to take Live Man out. So, and I don't know. I'll know more after we watch Ginga Man, because Ginga Man was number 5 for me. After number 4 was Live Man, but I would, kind of like how Patrick acknowledges that like Shinkenger, like King-Ohger is the better written series. I acknowledge that King-Ohger on a straight up like quality level is way better than this Sentai. Yes, this is better than Jetman at the end of the day, and I still think Shinkenger is better than Jetman from a writing quality standpoint too. I put Jetman as number 1 for selfish reasons, but I would still put King-Ohger there at number 2. I would rank this ahead. Shinkenger, that it gets bogged down to number 3 then for me, which puts Time Ranger at 4. And right now, I want to put Ginga Man at 5. It depends on how our review goes. It's either going to be Ginga Man or Live Man for number 5 for me. But yeah, this Sentai is so good that I kind of have to break my rule to have at least one show era season in my top 5. It's that good. I have to break my own rule.
That's a silly rule to have to begin with, though. Just pick the season based on merit. What's that?
The show era needs some love.
No, they do, but they gotta earn the love, damn it.
Live Man will earn that love when we watch it.
I'm actually looking forward to when we eventually watch that season, because I've heard not just from you, but from a lot of people that Live Man is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, King-Ohger takes that first spot over Shinkenzer, because unlike you, Patrick, I don't care about the grounded characters as much as I care about the over-the-top stuff like this.
I mean, it's all perspective, so I understand it.
Yeah, and then I have the eternal debate in my mind still of Gokaiger versus Shinkenzer, who's better. Because for my very selfish reasons, my Gokaiger, right. But I will still admit Senkinser's a better written series, but Gokaiser has a very strong emotional bond to me, just like how you have that emotional bond with
Yep.
Senkinser. So, Gokaiser 2, and then Senkinser 3. After that, it gets a little fuzzy, because while I like Time Ranger a lot, I don't know if I can give the credit here for it being number 4. Just because I'm at a bit of a disadvantage compared to y'all in terms of what I've seen.
Yeah.
So
Fair enough.
it's hard for me to give Time Ranger because it feels unearned.
Well, hopefully when we watch Ginga Man and like Go Busters and all that, it'll help you put some things into perspective.
Well, no, Go Busters is that's the thing. I think Go Busters and Kyu Ryuzer are two Sentai. I can't speak tonight.
No, it's a tongue twister title. I've always had a hard time pronouncing it correctly.
Well, okay, it has like 4 syllables before you get to the Ryuzer part.
I know, right?
So, I really think if we're talking about personal me loving this thing, I got more hype watching Kyu Ryuzer than I did with some of Time Ranger.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now, that might be the most bold comment anybody's said in this video so far. Yeah.
Because, I mean, Time Ranger had some really big emotional moments, but I base my Sentai more on how much does this pump me up and get me hype and excited, you know?
Yeah.
And Time Ranger hits me on the emotional, dramatic level, but does it get me hyped up and pumped up to ready to fight? Not as much. Domon really helps that, though.
The one thing I want to add... Go ahead.
No, you can go.
No, I mean, I was going to use that to kind of transition to, like, you know, what I would also give my final...
My comment was a throwaway line, so who cares? Just go.
Throw it away. Let's hear it.
I was about to say, I will agree that if you want to talk about hype, Kyoryu Carnival was kind of sick, wasn't he?
Yeah.
that whole mode was awesome.
Right, and it's stuff like that that made me like it more. It just it was just more fun to me. It's a fun season. It's not anything groundbreaking, not something you can write home about, but it's still stupid fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fun. I have a laundry list of issues with that season, but it not being fun is not one of them. It is a fun season, but
and I feel like when I rewatched it with y'all for the podcast, I'll have a difference of opinion from today.
Yeah.
In fact, I know I will. Yeah. But for right now, I do want to give some love to it because I still think it has some really epic moments.
But what I wanted to say, like, honestly, when I do revisit this Sentai, I would probably... There's a chance I might feel tempted to put it ahead of Jetman, if only just because, like, this is the first Sentai that I've watched while it was airing in, like, 10 years. And honestly, I watched Gokaiger when it was airing and loved it. And I do remember following Kyoryuger a little bit. I had to watch Tokuger because we were podcasting with it. But this is I loved Gokaiger, but this was like another one of those shows where this was on a whole different level where when I'm watching it, I want to know what's going to happen. Like, you know, with all the watching experience was just a little bit better for me than it was watching Gokaiger was airing. And not only that, but it's also very special because this is the first Sentai that I got back to after taking a huge long break, like literally 10 years. I haven't watched anything after Tokuger, and that's why it's also special.
You watched a little bit of Ninja and Zyuohger. Let's not forget. Oh, also Zyuohger has a spot in my top 5. I can't forget about them.
Well, yeah. That's fair. But, this is the first one I've watched from start to finish since Tokuger, and it didn't disappoint. And that's why, honestly, that's why I want to say that, this Sentai is amazing. It probably will be my number one, especially after I revisit it. But, it moves a little too fast for its own good in terms of story sometimes. But this is like, I would honestly say that like 50 years into the future, this would be like a groundbreaking Sentai that embraces storytelling and writing in a way that I've never seen Sentai before. And I know I said that about Jetman, and I still stand by that. I mean, you guys will know that Jetman kind of changed the storytelling. At least you guys haven't seen the older Sentai, so you don't really know what I'm talking about. But that Jetman was groundbreaking.
Yeah, but they didn't have good follow through after that with Zero Ranger.
Yeah, I know.
That's not Jetman's fault, though.
No, but they didn't learn the lessons and apply it to the next season after. Dang it.
Yeah, well, it took them a little bit. I mean, Dire Ranger did try and then tick me off in the process.
Like, but like the way that they like move beyond, like they were talking about wanting to take Sentai in a different direction, and I still need to see the Sentai that came out, but this took the different direction to like a whole new level. Like I remember when Riz was like saying like, hey, Cosmic Fury, are you watching? Because this is the better series that like moved away from like the monster of the week type of plot. And it's like, yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is like, Cosmic Fury is you, and King-Ohger is literally the guy that she tells you not to worry about. Like that is how with how amazing this is. And if there was ever a Sentai I wanted to give a 10 out of 10, it would be King-Ohger. I'm going to take maybe 0.2 points off just because maybe the villains aren't amazing or something like that. But those are the only cons. But this is like still a 9.8 out of 10 for me. Like this is like, I don't know. Like if this is what if the Reiwa era of Sentai, and that's everything like after Ryu Soldier, is this good, then the Reiwa era, I mean, please continue to let this Reiwa era be good. Because if this is what the Reiwa era has to offer, then I'm willing to sit through how terrible Ni Ninja is just to get to the good stuff. And yeah, I'm giving it a 9.8 out of 10. I really want to give it a 10, but I don't know about that.
Shinkenger was my only season I'd give a 10 to, but I think this one deserves a 10 alongside it, because this is the first time I've legitimately watched the Sentai where I've questioned Shinkenger's placement on my tier list. But the fact that it even made me question it makes it warrant a 10 for me.
Yeah. 10.
Yeah.
10.1. I'm accounting for inflation from all the stock rising we've done.
You're that guy on the Wheel of Fortune who bets something in $1.
Yeah.
$20 $1.
Yeah. But anyway,
be a dick about it.
Anybody have other closing thoughts they want to add?
The king. Yeah. I will say though, I was never a fan of that chant. That was probably the one thing about King-Ohger that annoyed me was the
Gokai sequence. The Gokai chant was better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Spider Kimono had a great one.
I always like the Kyoryuger Gabba Revolver jingle.
Oh, dude,
the dance. The dance was cool. Yeah. The dance. I can't wait to see them do that full team dance again in the crossover movie. It'll be nice to see all of them together doing that again.
Yeah, we're totally gonna have to review that.
And they got King and Prince in the crossover together.
So
Did you see in the preview? Did you see King's new costume?
No, I haven't.
They put up a trailer for it, and Kyoryu Red is getting a brand new outfit, and it looks ridiculous. And I mean that in a cool way.
Okay, I'm gonna check it out after this, but yeah.
Yeah, you have to look up the trailer.
But the point is, guys who are listening, King-Ohger is an amazing Sentai, and if you haven't watched it yet, well, then you should stop listening to this podcast and go watch it right now. Like,
why were you listening to us in the first place?
Watching it early.
What's wrong with you?
Because if you don't go and watch it, I will find you, and I am not joking.
Nathan, I must throw out a disclaimer now. We here at Anime Secrets do not condone the actions of Nathan to stalk you as to go stalk you in public.
And I'm pretty sure my wife would also be really angry with me if I did that.
I will call your wife and let her know.
Like, Rizwan is like, my lawyer has asked me to disclose that we do not condone his behavior.
But anyway, guys, so that wraps up. We're not going to be done with King-Ohger. We'll still take a look at the movie and the crossover movies, just because, I don't know, kind of like much like how we decided to take a look at the Gokaiger 10 years after. Like, this is just one Sentai that we don't want to let go, so let's just squeeze as much as we can out of this Sentai. But with that being said, we will be covering Boom Boomger. We'll cover the first episode when we get a chance. We do have some issues regarding our personal lives that'll kind of make us have to hold back on that just a little bit, but we'll get on that as soon as we can. Riz and I are going to be taking a look at, the next episode about Rail Riders, that fan Tokuger adaptation production. And we got, we are going to be working on Ginga Man very soon in a couple of weeks, maybe a month, taking a look at Ginga Man. We're really looking forward to that. We got all sorts of things prepared for you. And hopefully Boom Boomger will, I'm not going to say it's going to be in quality on King-Ohger, but again, if it's a stupid Sentai, knows that it's stupid and embraces how stupid it is, then we'll have some fun with it.
Yeah.
But we're looking forward to testing that out. So if you're watching this video on YouTube, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, leave comments with your thoughts on King-Ohger down below. If you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes, we appreciate that. And you guys can give us feedback at animesecrets.org, where you can also watch the Animated Classified and Jedi Squadron podcasts. And that about wraps this up. Once again, we thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen to us, and we'll see you guys next time in our next podcast. But until that time, you guys stay safe. We love you, and may the power protect you.